okay, so that's Rolling Loud in the US. So then last year was the first year Rolling Loud was in Thailand. In fact, a lot of festivals are coming to Thailand now. Like EDC is coming for the first time in January. Did you know that?
I didn't know that actually.
Yeah, in Phuket. So I booked a hotel for it like 5 months ago. I'm hoping to go. So, but for the Thailand one, was it just assumed, like, do they use the same people all the time, or did you have to ask about going?
They have, I mean, their media team back home in the US is massive. I think there's sometimes like 50 of us. So,
50 on one festival?
Yeah, roughly. It's a pretty big media team.
How does it work? Are like people designated like, okay, your video, your photo, your drone?
Yeah. So and that's usually how it works with any festival that I'm hired out for. You'll usually, depending on the expansiveness of what they have in mind for the after movie, we'll have maybe a drone operator, VFX editor. They'll have an on-site after movie editor, and then different shooters, say covering artist, stage, fan experience, like all the bases are covered. And usually you have a pretty clear assignment going into it.
Yeah, events are hard because they're live and you can't redo stuff. So you have to think ahead of time. What do we want covered? How do we want to capture it? And then have those people in place ready to go. So I think some people think you like there's like two people with cameras walking around.
Yeah, no, it's not super run and gun like that, but also you're playing with live elements. So there's an element of surprise.
So you found out they were doing it in Thailand and you asked them?
They reached out to me, but because I'd already kind of been working with their team.
Okay. And did they, like, what info do they give you? Or did they just say, festival's going to be in Thailand, see you there?
Well, I think the funny thing about it is if you don't, like, open your eyes and look too far around, like if you're not looking at the palm trees, the temples, like what looks like Thailand, you would think it's Miami or LA. Like there's a lot of elements to the layout and the stages and the fan experience that feels very like true to Rolling Loud brand. So honestly, that was kind of the funny part of it. It's like you come all this way and like the energy's different, the people are different, but there's a lot of elements to the festival that stay the same.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. But you had never, it's just funny to me because you had never even been to Thailand. So like logistically, when they told you where it was, which it's in, I don't know if it's technically in Pattaya, but it's in Chonburi province. Maybe right outside Pattaya.
Pattaya City is what
I don't know how close it is to the main area. That's why.
It's not in the main city. No.
Yeah.
I would say it's a little outside of it.
It's just funny. And also that, that city has quite a reputation. I don't know if you figured that out yet, but.
It depends what the reputation is. I don't know what I do or don't know.
Well, did you hang out at all?
No, we stayed on the resort. We stayed at the Renaissance and we would just get, shuttled to and from the festival.
Oh, okay. Like Pattaya is like, to put it simply, it's basically the world's biggest red light district. I mean, the whole city is basically a red light district. At the same time, because I had this like bad impression of it. It is like just a cool beach town as well. So like you could go there with your boyfriend for a weekend and just hang out and have a good time and not deal with any of that stuff. But it's well known that a lot of people go there from all over the world for the extracurricular activities.
I did not know about that.
Before we started recording, don't ask why, but I was explaining to Allie what soapy massages are here. Not that I'm into that, but something came up that I was trying to explain to her. So, so I just think it's funny, your first Thailand experience, you're like, you land and then straight to Pattaya and you're like, I don't even know what it is.
Yeah, honestly, it's not the way I typically like to travel because I do like to travel quite a bit. But the way I design it when I do it myself is a little different than, this experience I have doing it with a job. It's super catered. Like you fly in, the airport shuttle picks you up, brings you to the hotel, and then we get brought to the festival, back from the festival.
So you didn't have to figure too much out.
No, I mean, which is great when it's a job. Like
because
it's great
you told me you didn't even have baht. Like you didn't even have Thai baht until today.
No, and it did cause a problem a few times. Like ordering food and ordering like delivery food. It was a problem, but other than that, I haven't needed it.
So, and because we're filming this on a Monday. The festival is Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So the festival's over now. What was the best part or the highlight, do you think?
I would say, I mean, the sets, you like, people go for the music. The fan experience is really cool. I think that's something really unique about Rolling Loud is they really prioritize the fan experience. So there's activations everywhere and brands that are super well known that I wouldn't think to associate with these really cool experiences, like Red Bull or Coke or stuff like that. You think you just go to a store and grab one, but they have full activations and photo ops and like everything designated towards the brand. And Red Bull had a breakdancing stage. Like it's cool to see how they implement these brands.
Stages are there at this?
There's 2 at this festival.
Okay. Were you assigned, like, what was your job?
My job in this festival was fan experience, like in the VIP section. So if you get like an upgraded VIP ticket, they have all these kind of like separate experiences, and a whole side of the stage is designated just to VIP. So I'm kind of capturing that.
Did you notice any like cultural difference between shooting Rolling Loud in like Miami and in Thailand?
The people are a lot more reserved. I have to say, I heard from people who have shot the Europe location festivals. I wasn't at that one, and I heard that everyone dresses super casually, and I kind of got that experience in general when I did Ultra Europe. People dress like they're just going to the park, versus in the US, you're dressing full rave fit. You've got like people are half naked, like they've got jewels, they've got face paint, they got everything. Here, I have to say the fashion was up to par. It was really cool fashion, but the people were a lot more reserved. And in the States, they want to get in your video and get in your face because they see the after movie, so they want to be in that and they like that spotlight. But here, they just they were a little more reserved. You had to get a little more energy out of them.
Okay. What are the differences between here, like as far as the show itself, and in the US?
I'd say a lot of it is similar. The difference is the incorporation of like Thai and Asian based artists. Like they do bring in some local artists that I think are very popular here, which is really cool because I hadn't seen any of those before.
Okay. Because if we hadn't made it clear so far, it's a hip hop festival, right?
Yeah.
See, I'm not like such a big fan of live hip hop because it's just like, I feel like it's not as good as the recording. The recording, like a studio version of something. You know what I'm talking about?
Sure, yeah. No, I get what you're saying.
It's like a different thing, but I get people go for different reasons.
It's a lot about the energy. And
right.
Some artists will sing their whole set. Others are kind of just like bits and pieces, but that goes for pop and other music too. But yeah, it's totally like a hype energy type of experience more than it is
personally,
to hear them sing.
If I go to a concert and whoever's singing points the mic at the crowd, I get so angry because I'm like, I didn't pay all this money and show up here to hear like Sally sing your song. Like I came here to listen to you. Yeah.
You have to admit it's funny though when they bring people up on stage and kind of like get them to act out or perform for people.
I don't know about that.
It happens from time to time. Like, you know, they'll see a really engaged fan or someone who's going crazy and they'll bring them up.
So what you said you were doing the fan experience. That's like the part of the festival you were responsible for. Mm-hmm. So you mentioned like some activations, but they have like some barbershop thing or some.
Yeah.
We'll talk about those.
Yeah, so that's all in the VIP area. So I was capturing a bit of all of that. The main experience that I was covering, it's called Bunny's Bay Bar, and
Bunny's Bay Bar.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's actually really cool. It's this like hair and makeup and glitter, salon, and so people come to the festival and it's
only for girls.
Guys can get it too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. No, but they'll put like those fake colored braids. They'll braid them into your hair, and they'll do like not rave, that's not a good word, but they'll do glitter makeup and jewels and gems and body art and all of that.
Okay. What would you say most of the crowd were foreigners or Thai people? Like what's the percentage breakdown, do you think?
I don't know. I honestly was spending my time in such a localized area that I didn't get a good scan of the whole crowd, but based on the content we were collecting, we were doing a lot of videos about where are you from? Where are you coming from? There are people coming from the States. There's people coming from Australia, all around Asia, probably a few people from Europe as well. I think that it opens up a huge market of people out here. That if this is the closest festival to them, it's easier to get here than the US.
Yeah, I think a lot of festivals are targeting Thailand now because it's kind of like a hub of Southeast Asia and Asia in general. So I wouldn't be surprised if, like, I don't know what's next. EDC is coming next. What's another one in the US that's Ultra?
Yeah.
So EDC got there first though. So I don't know. But yeah, we're going now we're going into like the cooler time of year. So Rolling Loud was November. Next month is a festival called Wonder Fruit, which is really popular here. I don't know what I would compare that to in the US. It's kind of like, I don't know.
What kind of music is it?
I think it's more of like Coachella, Burning Man kind of vibe. Some people are going to correct me in the comments, but it's like more like spiritual stuff, plus music, plus whatever. It's not like this is a hip hop festival. And then January is EDC, which, you know, EDC is like one of the biggest EDM festival brands in the world, if not the biggest. So that will be interesting because that's in Phuket too, which is, I mean, Phuket is an island. It's a big island, but it's not that big. So I'm interested to see like what that's going to turn out like. I thought the location for Rolling Loud was interesting because it's not too far from Bangkok. It's within 2 hours, but it is Pattaya. It's not like some scenic location necessarily like Phuket. But yeah, it's the logistics of the whole putting on an event like that are interesting to me because you know what I do in the US. Yeah, so I said we do nightlife stuff in the US, like events like that. I cannot imagine trying to do a festival like this as a foreigner in Thailand. It's just everything here, like business wise, logistics wise, is like 10 times harder than the US.
And I mean, luckily, I feel like I'm kind of at the end of that stick. Like there's all this planning and then I'm just capturing all the work that's done.
Did you see any issues, like any problems come up?
No, I thought it ran really smoothly. I feel like there's like with a festival brand that I've worked with so many times at this point, like I know what to expect. So yeah, there's not too many surprises.
Yeah. If you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the full episode, click right here.